Hello, everyone, and welcome to our not so standard venue for Reset with Tanya. I'm here with Reena Miglani, one of my most favorite people that I met during my time with a women's organization here in the Bay Area. And Reena and we just had I will call it a soul connection, and
Yes.
we don't see each other much, but that's the beauty of true connection is you don't have to see each other all the time to still recognize the value of being together.
Right,
and
and
making
we are able to pick it up whenever we meet, and
It's
even
true.
seeing each other on social media and
Yeah.
kind of feeling that soul connection and kind of being proud of each other for all our journey and all that we've achieved. Right?
I have been following you for several months now. By the way, where are we? We are in Belmont, California, Mid-Peninsula, at Amara. Amara is a Mediterranean fusion restaurant that Reena has just opened 3 months ago, 4 months ago?
3 months ago.
Okay,
Yes.
so 3 months ago, and you guys have got to come here. It is exquisite, and I followed you online in that journey. I would call it a radical departure from what you were doing.
Yeah.
Reset is all about transitions. This is the most beautiful transition. It is exquisite. It is truly remarkable, and is a creative side of you that you probably never used.
Or never knew existed.
Oh, I love this. So tell us what the transition was for you
Sure.
to do your reinvention.
Sure. So, and I spent more than 2 decades in various roles at tech company, mostly on the business side, supporting sales engineering, go-to-market, strategy, all around software, working on different industries. And then late in 2023, got the sad news that most of my team and myself were being told to go find it, figure out what you need to do because it's bye-bye,
Yeah.
sayonara from that position. And it was hard.
Of course.
It felt really hard, especially when you've been with a company for so long.
Yes.
I keep telling my husband, I think that's what a divorce would feel like. It was that painful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And after some time off, much needed relaxation, I went back to corporate, did few months of chief operating officer role at a smaller manufacturing company. And then in the meantime, my husband and I, who had become empty nesters around the advent of COVID, had been meaning to spend more time with each other. We had
Yes.
always thought of expanding our family business. So my husband, who's also an ex-techie but left that side of the world 2 decades back,
He wised up quicker than we
he
did.
did. And I
Yes.
think he was put on this earth to be his own boss from day one.
Yes.
So he figured it out pretty early in his career. So he owned 2 successful restaurants in the Bay Area. And then we decided to expand and signed the lease at this location, this gorgeous location in Belmont, which is in Belmont Hills, close to 101 corridor, 280 corridor. So we felt it's a great location, and the outside garden, the inside of the restaurant just showed a lot of potential to us. So we signed the lease, and then that's when I formally joined the family business.
Yes.
And then almost a year of finding, doing many things to bring it to life. We are here at the beginning of 2025, and we have I call this my grandchild. First 2 restaurants were like my 2 kids, and now we've learned so much, and now we are the grandparents for Amara.
And I love that you embrace it. So many women our age kind of aren't ready to say that they can have grandchildren, but you're like just racing into it that it's my grandchild. So I love that. What these listeners can't appreciate, clearly they see behind us that you've got a couple of different waterfalls. This lush, what do you call this back area?
We call it actually just Amara's garden, and I want to
Gardening. I love
emphasize
that.
garden just because
Yes.
it's truly a garden. You go to so many outdoor spaces, there are
Yes.
patios or something off the street. This is really an oasis. You need to walk through I call this Amara's dining room an extension of my living room. So
Yes.
you're actually walking through the living room, coming to the back of the restaurant, and then walking downstairs into the garden.
I
So
wish that my personal living room was designed and had the decor of your extended living room, because that's what strikes me about this, and all through the process on social media, because you brought your community. You know, we came from a multi-thousand person community where we met, and you came from I don't know how many people are at your prior company, but it's one of the largest
It is.
companies on the peninsula, has
Right.
been around for decades.
Yeah.
So you have a huge network, and you shared that with us as you were designing and building this. You know, you were showing me some of the rooms down here in the garden, and you were so proud of what you had designed. And I don't know that you ever considered yourself creative before you had an opportunity to put this together.
No, actually, I did not, because working in technology and software, you never really realize there is actually a creativity there, especially when you're designing a user experience
Yes.
and all that. But you really don't think of yourself as an artist. And when I was in that in between sabbatical, forced sabbatical, I started to get acclimated more with design, started following some amazing influencers with thousands of followers, and started to experiment some of their way of arranging flowers and objects in my house, and started to see how much I enjoy that. And I'm I feel so lucky that I got the opportunity to then bring that to Amara's design aesthetics. And when I was designing Amara, for me, I kept thinking to the life in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley, how hurried we are, and how, as opposed to our life here, when you're in the Mediterranean, those vacations, that way of life is so laid back.
Yes.
And how do I bring that here, even if it's for a couple of hours? So I designed the space to feel like once you enter Amara, it's a sensory experience. We have a scent that we designed to make you feel relaxed, the colors that we chose, just the different textures, how they come into play. I want people to come in without us saying anything, their shoulders to drop.
You designed the scent.
Yes. I designed
When
the
I
scent.
when I walked through, I thought I was going to ask you. This is yummy. And it's perfect.
Thank you.
So there's not a detail that you didn't have a direct hand in creatively designing this exquisite. That's just the word that keeps coming to me, because it's so
Thank you.
beautiful. And
Thank you.
I'm so proud for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And as I said, it was something that I wanted to open up for our community,
Yeah.
not just Belmont, but beyond in this Bay
Yeah.
Area where you have this hurried way of life. Why not come in, spend a couple of hours with us and just feel relaxed? That was what I was going for. And the other thing that I was thinking is, we have this notion, we all do, where we save our best china, best silverware for
Yes.
what, one day.
Yes.
I want us to change that thought process and use the best things you have every day. So that's why the space, the food, it uses the best ingredient. It looks the most beautiful. It feels like paradise, but it's not paradise for one day. It's paradise that you enjoy every day.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll be here for dinner tomorrow night, and the next. It is really convenient. I mean, it's halfway between San Jose and San Francisco, and it's just a mile and a half or so, I think, off the freeway. And you don't realize when you pull up what you're going to be coming into.
Yes,
It's,
that
it's
is
almost
a surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it is so grand, and it was so ambitious of you to do this, right? But it's clearly a passion project.
Definitely, definitely. And I am feeling so lucky that those who come in really appreciate
Yeah.
it. And the convenience of being close to, the Silicon Valley's different hubs, whether it's biotech or VC corridor, and you don't have to look for parking.
Oh, no, that was, yeah. I will not go off on my parking tangent.
And then once you're in here, our staff is amazing. There's a big focus on hospitality. It's not service, it's
Yeah.
beyond, it's hospitality. As I said, I tell them it's extension of our living room.
Yeah.
So you need to, if I'm not there, doesn't mean that people are not guests at my home. So
One of your team brought us water earlier, and he was just delightful. You could tell he enjoys serving people.
Yes,
He wants
yes.
to take care of people, and it's really when you curate that kind of team. And I think that we had experiences in leadership where people who come through other trajectories, like if you had done restauranteering all of your life, you would have had a different approach. But
Right.
we have really had experience
right.
to learn how to lead people, how to manage, how
Right.
to motivate and inspire people. And so I can see why you would have a team that's very happy to be here with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's very important. I tell them, come in here and let's have our eyes and ears and all our senses working. Don't be robotic. Every day is
Yes.
different.
This is not
Bring your
transactional.
yes, bring your whole self in. Watch what you're doing. You are a salesman when you know approaching the table,
Yeah.
but it's not about the sales. It's you want to make sure it's about the
Yes.
customer.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
bringing in, as you said, all the skills that we learned working and managing big teams in tech, and also learning from some of not super experiences we had, that we build teams, we build cultures that are sustainable, not just for us, not for profit making, but just for the community, for your
Yes.
staff, for what they bring to the customers.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Let's talk a little about community. This is 3 months old, so you are just starting to build community here. I mentioned earlier you came from a very, very large corporate entity when
Yeah.
that you came from. And then, of course, you and I met through a pretty large community of
Right.
female executives here on the. It's national, but a large group
Yes.
here. I think community is critical to everything that we do, especially as we evolve. Being able to curate all those different components of what has been important in our lives,
right, right.
and bringing those communities along with us. As you've transitioned, what have you brought forward from your past communities, or what are you planning to? This is young,
Right.
so
right.
how does that look for you in terms of using this as a vehicle to build community?
So, if you talk about community, there is just so many aspects that I can
Yeah.
probably talk about that for an hour. But first thing that I'll start with, not just what I want to do with this space, that I want people to realize that, a table at a restaurant is not just a table. The restaurateurs and the people behind that actually bring that to the community to help you build a community around.
To create an
You,
experience.
you meet your friends there. The day you don't want to cook, you go out. You celebrate your birthdays, your special milestones. So first of all, restaurants are a community builder space, and that's kind of what I've started to realize.
Okay.
Secondly, the community that we are in and the space that Amara is in itself has a rich history, which we are slowly finding out. We had operators before us, and slowly we've had people come in and tell us. We had a board meeting, and one of the gentlemen who was part of the company's board told us that his granddaddy in early 60s owned a Chinese restaurant here, and he showed us pictures.
Oh,
And
how
this gentleman
wonderful.
was in his 70s, showed pictures of him playing here as a kid. Then we had another lady just knocked the door. We closed on Monday. She goes, she was knocking. I thought that was a customer looking to find out if we are open for lunch. She comes in and says, "Hey, I'm so and so, and I used to be the GM of Pinebrook Inn, and I know Pinebrook Inn was a German restaurant in this space
Yes.
and big in this community."
Yes.
A lot of our customers still come in and talk about Klaus, who was the owner and chef, his family, and what a community they had built. So there's a rich history there.
And it becomes a shared experience,
Yes,
right? Now
right.
because you're in this space and it connects you to what people did in the 60s and
Exactly.
70s in this space.
Right,
I
and
love that they're stopping by.
Right, and other operators who've been here, they've been coming in, they've sent us emails, they've sent us old pictures. In fact, I want to do a board
Yeah.
with a flow chart of all the history I know, right where, the hallway leading up to the restrooms, and then people in the community will see and probably they'll bring us something else. So that's one thing. The other thing is, this is a beautiful space. People like to come in, celebrate their milestones. I just ordered a Polaroid camera. I want to take everybody's picture celebrating, give them one and put one on our little board. So
I think that's
Right.
building community, taking memories and experiences and capturing those.
Right. So that's,
I love it.
And coming from, the big tech side, so that's the B2C angle of
Yeah.
our business. From a B2B perspective, 50% of the restaurant is built for then that part of the community, people having a lovely space with amazing service and food for board meetings, which we're starting to see some of that.
Nice.
This beautiful garden here, we had another event where people did a cocktail, passed hors d'oeuvres, they enjoyed this mingling, then they went up for a more serious board
Yes.
meeting and sat down.
Yes.
So there's multiple aspects of the community. And then, as I said, this is a topic close to heart, so I'll add one more thing. And we're not starting from scratch with our other two restaurants.
Yes.
We have a big community.
Oh,
Our
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
And they've been following
People have
our
known your
journey.
brand
Yes.
for years.
Right, and they've been following our journey. And at Saffron, our first restaurant here in San Carlos, we've seen a few couples who actually proposed at our restaurants. Then they had babies. Those babies went away to college, but butter chicken was their favorite meal
Oh
with a
my.
naan.
Okay, yes.
When they get down at SFO, they first come to Saffron before they go home because
Oh.
they want their favorite meal in
What a
town.
great story.
And again, not a very happy thing to say, but we've also had few people that their families sent us an email, hey, can we pick up food because my so-and-so relative is passing away. Your food is their favorite.
And it
So-
was the comfort.
and
It's
that was their
comfort
last
too,
meal
and
they
they're-
had.
Oh, not
Yes.
even,
Yes.
wow.
So two
Yeah.
people that I know, their last meals were from our restaurant.
Chills.
So,
But it's,
yes.
it's such a privilege
Yeah.
to have that space
Right.
in someone's life.
Right. And then,
Yeah.
I also admire what Ajay, my husband, running the other two restaurants, like the community that he has built. People really admire him. And also when they meet me, they're like, oh my God, you're such a lucky woman. He always talks about you. So, it's one of those things that you feel
It's
lucky.
exceptional.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
feel lucky that, your spouse talks such great things about you. And then it's all part of the community.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been telling the girls that, I'm like, you're not hostesses. I want to change your title. You are my customer experience officers. And, you and I, we go to
It's
so
true.
many places when
It's transactional.
that first moment when you come in and if
Absolutely.
something irks you, your whole experience starts to go downhill. I'm like, you gals, we've given you the software that has great CRM. I want you to know who's coming in here, what their likes or dislikes
Wow.
are, how many times they've been here. You need to guide the servers then guide the experience because that's what true hospitality is. So my next
Oh,
goal,
that's an elevated experience. You
Right.
realize that's very uncommon.
Right. So, and again, it's about personalization, making sure that the customer is not
Brilliant.
repeating themselves. Also, if they always try the same drink, maybe teasing them to try something else so you already know. Right,
But this is where your history in technology
definitely.
is pulling forward into an industry that hasn't used technology that much other than the transaction pieces
Right,
and the
right.
supply chain, if
Right,
you will.
right.
I think to make it easy for your team to know the customer
Right.
and to react to that individual, teasing them to try a different kind of drink or knowing in advance that it's a special event,
Right.
knowing what their favorite table is.
Right.
When I used to go to India all the time, they would mark a table for me that I
Yeah.
would have breakfast at every
Right,
morning.
right.
And I knew that I was family to that hotel staff
Yes.
when they'd start putting out a little reserved sign on that
Yeah,
table
yeah.
with a newspaper.
Right.
And I just felt so special that, that I would show up and
Right.
suddenly my breakfast table was always saved for me.
Yeah. And that's that feeling, that old show Cheers, right? Where everybody
Yeah.
knows your name. That's
That's
what I
right.
want to build with all of our restaurants, kind of take it to that next level. Because for me, biggest joy of transitioning into being a restaurateur actually has been meeting my guests. having those conversations
course.
and seeing them happy, feeding them and seeing them happy. There's no bigger joy than that.
You get to be a mama
Yes.
every night.
Yes.
And I want to talk about mama.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's no surprise to me that you have transitioned and been so strong in coming from a very important corporate career into this creative service oriented role. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting your mother. Was it last October or
Yeah,
so?
I think so, yes.
And was just so enamored with her. I'm going to tell it, and you correct it if I'm wrong, but I met Reena's mama. She was here for an event that we did at you did at Saffron, and well, I'll tell the story. I asked Reena, "Does your mom speak English?" Because she was wearing a full sari, and it was a dressy event, but still she was in. And she's, how old is she?
She's 81.
She's 81, and it's clear she's and I've spent a lot of time in India. I know so I said, Reena, this is terrible, but you remember this.
Yeah.
I said, is her English good? Because I didn't want to just pounce on
Yeah,
her
right.
without knowing her level of comfort. And Reena informed me that her mother has a doctorate in English literature. I was pretty embarrassed. And delighted because my someone in my family at that age didn't go to college, much less have a doctorate in English. And it just said a lot to me about your family and ambition, the desire to do more and be more than the environment,
Right.
especially for her age,
Right.
frankly, because I
Right.
don't think you'll find a lot of 81-year-olds here that are running around with doctorates because
Right.
it just wasn't available
Right.
to women
Right.
of that
Right.
era.
Right.
So,
Right.
so I loved your mama. She was
No, I
delightfully
would
precious.
say we've been lucky. My family has been very progressive.
Yes.
And none of the stereotypes of girl versus boy. And I think the girls had a little more advantage in our family. Probably the boys will say, I think we were the
They
persecuted
feel
one.
picked on. That's strong women.
Yeah, strong
Strong
women
women.
for
How
sure.
is your mom doing? Is she
She's
good?
doing great. She's actually
Wonderful.
traveling a little bit right now. She's in
91.
Chicago. Yeah,
No,
of course.
91, and she's getting on a plane.
Yeah,
As it should be.
Yeah, of
as
course,
it should
of
be.
course, of
Wonderful.
course, yeah.
We'll be sure to tell her that I said hello
I'll
and that
definitely
I
do
look
that.
forward to seeing her next time
Yeah.
I'm here, which might be tomorrow night.
of course.
You've already
Or
invited
as
me for
soon as
dinner.
You are
Anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
So-
Yes, for sure.
Excellent. Well, everyone, we are at Amara in the heart of Belmont, halfway up the peninsula. Amara restaurant. It's on Apple Maps. It's very easy to get to and plenty of parking. And I haven't sampled the food yet, but I am absolutely confident that it is exquisite because everything else I have touched has been just over the top in terms of how
Right, and
wonderful it is.
you know, it's not just Amara is not about just cuisine or the ambiance. It's kind of bringing that Mediterranean way of living here. And as you get to experience the food, you'll see the chef calls this a table of abundance, even though it's fine
Oh.
dining.
Abundance.
Yes,
That's
it-
a big word. Love it.
Yes, it's fine dining, but we don't course it. We want the spreads not finished and brings the next course, so you can use the spreads with your next course and kind
Yes.
of that taste lingers on till the end. The pastry program run by Chef Linda, all women team is amazing. And then you'll see the sustainability aspect of using head to tail, using the top of the stem to the bottom of the fruit or the vegetable is kind of, you'll see that because whatever appears in your big plate as a side, probably that stem will be used as an infusion for one of the cocktails. So kind of being
Very sustainable,
sustainable,
right?
but
Love it.
not for just for the show, but just
Right.
really feeling it that let's do
No.
what we can.
Yes.
Let's do what we can.
Yes.
Less wastage. And the flavors, it's a pan-Mediterranean cuisine, so spans all of the Mediterranean coast. You might find one day something from southern Spain or Algiers or Tunisia or Morocco. So it's just Mediterranean way of living and eating.
you're making me hungry.
Yes,
we're gonna have to go
yeah.
upstairs.
Yes, let's do that.
Because it all sounds so wonderful. And I would meet you at a fast food restaurant just to have time with you. But to
Thank
be
you so
able
much.
to have time with you in this amazing environment that you created, that you birthed, I think you have turned your next chapter. I wrote on LinkedIn a couple of days ago about The Next Day, Melinda French Gates' new book. And your next day is so remarkable. It's an inspiration to all of us.
And it's
So
not
thank
the
you.
it's not the last day. I know there's
Oh,
more coming.
Of course, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So everyone, this is Reena Miglani and Tanya Long with Reset with Tanya in the first of what may be a series of talks from Amara's garden.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.